Imagine for a moment that you are a leaf floating on the surface of a vast, turbulent ocean. Every wave that rises tosses you upward, and every trough that follows drags you down into the dark. You have no agency, no direction, and no peace, because your entire existence is defined by the movement of the water around you. This is how most people live their entire lives, moving through the world as emotional puppets. They believe they are free, yet their mood is dictated by the weather. Their self-worth is determined by a stranger's comment, and their internal peace is shattered by a single notification. We have become a society of reactors, individuals who have surrendered the throne of their own minds to the chaos of the external world. To be reactive is to be a slave to the environment, allowing every stimulus to pull a string and force a dance. But what if you could sever those strings once and for all? What if you could stand in the middle of a hurricane and remain as still as a mountain peak? This is the ultimate superpower, the ability to be so profoundly calm that nothing outside of you has the power to control you. It is the mastery of the space between what happens to you and how you respond to it. In this video, we are going to deconstruct the psychology of the unshakable mind. We will explore why your reactivity is being harvested by the modern world and how you can reclaim your sovereignty. You are about to learn how to build an internal fortress that no insult, no crisis, and no person can penetrate. This journey is not about becoming cold or emotionless, but about becoming so centered that your emotions work for you rather than against you. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by the weight of the world, this is the blueprint for your liberation. Prepare to look into the mirror of your own soul and realize that the only person who has ever truly had power over you is the version of yourself that didn't know how to stay still. Let us begin the process of total self-mastery. Your new life starts at the moment you decide that your peace is non-negotiable.
The core problem of the modern age is not that we have too much stress, but that we have lost the ability to resist it. We are currently living in an economy of outrage, where your attention is the most valuable currency on the planet. Every application on your phone, every news headline, and every social media algorithm is specifically engineered to bypass your logic and trigger your limbic system. They want you angry, they want you anxious, and they want you reactive, because a reactive person is a predictable consumer. When you are in a state of emotional upheaval, you are easier to influence, easier to sell to, and easier to lead. We have been conditioned to believe that caring means reacting, but in reality, reactivity is just a lack of discipline. By reacting instantly to every perceived slight, you are leaking your life force into an environment that does not care about your well-being. This constant state of high alert triggers a physiological cascade of cortisol and adrenaline that fogs your judgment and ruins your health. Biologically, your brain cannot distinguish between a lion attacking you and a passive-aggressive email from your boss. This biological mismatch means you are spending your precious energy fighting ghosts and shadows. We have traded our long-term peace for short-term validation and the hollow satisfaction of having the last word. You are being programmed to be a victim of your own impulses, effectively living your life on autopilot. This root problem is an internal leak. You are a bucket with holes, trying to fill yourself with external praise while your peace drains out from the bottom. Every time you lose your temper or fall into a spiral of anxiety over something you cannot change, you are handing over the keys to your life. You are telling the world that your happiness is for sale, and that the price is whatever minor inconvenience happens next. This is a form of psychological poverty that keeps you small, weak, and exhausted. Until you address this fundamental lack of boundaries between the world's chaos and your inner sanctum, you will never truly be free. You will continue to be a passenger in a vehicle driven by the whims of others. It is time to recognize that your reactivity is not a personality trait. It is a vulnerability.
The first major realization on the path to unshakable calm is the understanding of the gap. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, observed that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and our freedom. Most people live as if that space does not exist, as if the stimulus and the response are fused together in a single lightning-fast explosion. When someone cuts you off in traffic, the anger feels instantaneous, but it is not. There is a microscopic fraction of a second where your mind decides to be angry, and that is the moment where your power resides. If you can expand that gap, you can change the trajectory of your entire life. Consider the concept of the oasis in the desert. The desert is the world around you, harsh, hot, and unforgiving, but the oasis is your internal state. If you rely on the desert to provide you with water, you will die of thirst. But if you carry the well within you, you can survive anywhere. Statistics show that those who practice pause response techniques have significantly lower rates of heart disease and higher rates of professional success. This is because high-value individuals are those who can maintain clarity when everyone else is panicking. Think of the world's greatest leaders, surgeons, or pilots. Their value is derived directly from their ability to remain calm under pressure. They have trained themselves to see the stimulus, recognize the emotional surge, and then step into the gap to choose a logical path. This is not a gift of birth. It is a muscle that must be built through repetitive, intentional practice. You must begin to view every provocation as a training exercise for your mind. When the world tries to push you, your job is not to push back, but to remain immovable. By refusing to react, you conserve your energy for the actions that actually move the needle of your destiny. You are transitioning from being a billiard ball that is struck and moved to being the table itself. The table does not move when the balls collide. It provides the foundation for the game to be played.
The second core insight is a counterintuitive truth. You do not need the world to be peaceful for you to be at peace. We often tell ourselves, I will be calm once I finish this project, or I will be happy once this person apologizes to me. This is a logical fallacy that places your well-being in a future that may never arrive. True mastery is finding the still point in the center of the turning wheel. Common belief suggests we should fight against external chaos to create order, but the Stoic strategy is to retreat into the inner citadel. This is a mental fortress where external events are viewed as neutral data points rather than personal attacks. When someone insults you, they are merely vibrating air molecules and making sounds. The insult only exists if you accept it and give it a home in your mind. You are under no obligation to pick up the trash that people try to hand you. Imagine you are a deep, vast lake. If someone throws a stone into you, it may cause a few ripples on the surface, but the depths remain cold and undisturbed. Most people are shallow puddles. A single pebble splash causes a muddy mess that takes hours to settle. You must deepen your internal life through solitude, reflection, and the understanding of what is within your control. Epictetus taught that the only things we truly control are our own thoughts, impulses, and desires. Everything else, your reputation, your wealth, your body's health, is ultimately outside of your absolute command. By focusing exclusively on what you control, you become invincible, because you can no longer be disappointed by the world. This is the strategy of the invulnerable mind, where you detach your ego from the outcomes of the world. You play the game of life with total intensity, but you do not let the score define your soul. This detachment is not apathy, it is the highest form of engagement, because it is fueled by clarity rather than desperation. You are no longer a beggar asking the world for permission to feel okay.
The climax of this realization is understanding the severe price of remaining reactive. If you do not master your calm, you are essentially forfeiting your life to the lowest bidder. A life lived in reaction is a life that is never truly lived at all. It is merely a series of reflexes. When you look back on your life from the perspective of your final days, you will not regret the times you didn't win an argument. You will regret the years you spent being angry at things that didn't matter.
You will regret the energy you wasted on people who were merely passing through your life. The consequence of ignoring this reality is the slow erosion of your character and the eventual loss of your destiny. You will become a bitter, brittle version of yourself, easily broken by the smallest of trials. This is the tragedy of the unlived life, where your potential is smothered by the constant noise of your own emotional turbulence. However, the reward for achieving this calm is nothing less than total freedom. When you are no longer controlled by your fears, your desires, or the opinions of others, you are finally free to act in accordance with your highest values. You become a lighthouse for others, a source of stability in an increasingly unstable world. People will be drawn to you not because of what you say, but because of the way you carry yourself. Your presence alone will begin to settle the rooms you walk into. This is the ultimate form of power, the power to be yourself, regardless of what the world wants you to be. It is the ability to say no to the chaos and yes to the silence within. As we conclude this journey, remember that the path to this calm is paved with small daily choices. Every time you choose to breathe instead of shout, you are building your fortress. Every time you choose to observe instead of judge, you are strengthening your walls. Go forth now, not as a leaf in the ocean.
To understand the power of absolute calm, we must first descend into the dark, labyrinthine corridors of the human psyche. Why is it that we are so easily moved by the words of a stranger or the judgment of a peer? At our core, we carry the ancestral baggage of social survival, where being out of sync with the tribe meant certain death. Most people today are walking collections of unhealed triggers, reacting to the world like a piano whose keys are being struck by invisible hands. When someone insults you, they are not describing you. They are projecting their own internal chaotic landscape onto the canvas of your existence. Human nature is driven by a deep-seated need for control, yet most individuals cannot even control the rhythm of their own breathing when faced with a minor inconvenience. We observe a phenomenon called emotional contagion, where one person's panic or anger spreads like a viral shadow through a crowd. When you refuse to catch that virus, you break a fundamental law of social physics. You become a void where their toxicity goes to die, and this creates a psychological vacuum that most people find terrifying, yet magnetic. They react with aggression because your stillness highlights their own internal noise.
They see your silence as a mirror, and many people are not ready to face the reflection of their own restlessness. By understanding that every reaction is a confession of the other person's limitation, you stop being a victim and start being a witness. This is the hidden behavior of the masses. They act out of fear while pretending it is logic. You, however, must see through the theater of human ego. You must realize that their attempts to rattle you are merely desperate attempts to feel powerful in a world where they feel utterly powerless. Deep psychology teaches us that the person who can remain unbothered is the only person who is truly free. Everyone else is a puppet, dancing to the strings of external validation and perceived threat. To be calm is to cut those strings and watch the puppet master vanish into the fog of insignificance. It is the ultimate realization that you are the architect of your own emotional architecture, not a tenant in someone else's story.
There is an elephant in the room that society, the media, and even many experts choose to ignore. Our entire modern economy is built on your lack of calm. Anxious people are the most profitable demographic in existence. If you were truly satisfied and unshakable, you would not need to buy the endless stream of products designed to fill the void of your insecurity. The rare insight that few dare to speak is that your emotional volatility is a multi-billion-dollar commodity.
Algorithms are literally programmed to find the specific sequence of words and images that will trigger your dopamine or your cortisol. They want you reactive because a reactive person is a predictable person. When you are controlled by your impulses, you are easily led toward consumption, toward outrage, and toward compliance. Society frames the calm person as cold or indifferent, but this is a lie designed to keep you participating in the collective hysteria. In reality, the calm person is the ultimate rebel, the one who refuses to be moved by the digital wind. The truth that experts ignore is that inner peace is a form of treason against a system that thrives on perpetual dissatisfaction. We are taught to believe that we must engage with every tragedy and debate every opinion, but this is merely a drain on your vital energy. Your silence is not a lack of empathy, it is a conservation of power. By refusing to be outraged on command, you become an anomaly in the data stream. You become invisible to the predators of attention. This is the secret they don't want you to know. Your calm makes you unmarketable and unmanageable. You stop being a data point and start being a human being again. It is a radical act of defiance to look at a world screaming for your attention and simply look away. Nothing is more threatening to the status quo than a man who wants for nothing and fears nothing. This level of detachment is the only real wealth that can never be taxed or taken away.
Now we move from the theoretical to the tactical. How do you actually build this fortress of calm in your daily life? The first practical strategy is the 3-second threshold. Whenever a stimulus hits you, an insult, a bad email, a traffic jam, you must create a deliberate 3-second gap before any internal or external response. In those 3 seconds, you are not a victim of the event. You are the sovereign observer of it. Visualize the event as a wave hitting a massive granite cliff. The wave may crash and spray, but the cliff does not move an inch. Secondly, practice the Stoic technique of the view from above. Whenever you feel your blood pressure rising, mentally zoom out from your body, above your house, above your city, and into the silent vacuum of space. From that height, your problems are literally invisible, and the noise of the world is silenced by the vastness of the cosmos. Thirdly, implement an information fast, where you intentionally starve your mind of the trivial news and social feeds that keep your nervous system on high alert. You cannot be calm if you are constantly injecting the world's poison into your eyes. Physically, you must master your breath. The breath is the remote control for your brain. When the world gets loud, slow your exhale to double the length of your inhale. This sends a biological signal to your nervous system that you are safe, even if the world around you is on fire. Financial strategy also plays a role in your calm. Simplify your needs so that you are not a slave to a paycheck. A man who needs less is much harder to manipulate than a man who is drowning in debt. Build your freedom fund so that you never have to tolerate a toxic environment out of desperation. Consistency in these small actions creates a compounding effect of mental resilience. You are training your mind like a muscle, preparing it for the heavy lifts of life's inevitable tragedies. True calm is not a gift. It is a discipline that you practice when everything is going well, so it is there for you when everything falls apart. When you fully apply this blueprint, your reality begins to undergo a profound and irreversible shift. The world no longer feels like a battlefield where you are constantly under fire. Instead, it becomes a playground of observations. You will notice that people start to treat you differently. They will approach you with a certain level of hesitation and respect. Your presence alone will act as a stabilizer for the rooms you enter, as people subconsciously lean on your steady frequency. The things that used to ruin your day, a snide remark or a minor loss, will now feel as insignificant as a fly landing on a mountain. You gain a level of clarity that others mistake for genius, simply because you are not clouded by the fog of emotional reaction. Decisions become easy when they are stripped of panic and ego.
You start to see the invisible threads of cause and effect in human behavior, allowing you to navigate social situations with the grace of a grandmaster. This transformation is the birth of the invincible self. You realize that the only authority anyone ever had over you was the authority you gave them by caring about their opinion. As that care evaporates, so does their power. You move through life with a quiet confidence that doesn't need to shout to be heard. Your relationships improve because you are no longer reacting to your partner's moods, but responding to their needs from a place of strength. You become the person that others look to during a crisis, the lighthouse in a storm that remains fixed and shining while everything else is tossed about. This shift is not just mental, it is physical. Your posture changes, your voice deepens, and your eyes carry a weight of experience that words cannot describe. You are no longer a leaf in the wind. You have become the wind itself. Reality bends to the person who cannot be broken by it. This is the ultimate evolution of the human spirit, to be in the world, but not of its chaos.
As we reach the end of this journey, remember that the philosophy of the unshakable mind is not about becoming a statue or a robot. It is about becoming the master of your own internal kingdom. True calm is the highest form of self-love, for it protects your peace from the ravages of a world that does not always have your best interests at heart. You have learned that your reactions are the only things you truly own, and once you master them, you own the world. Let this be the day you stop giving away your power for free. Stop letting the headlines, the trolls, and the minor inconveniences dictate the weather of your soul. You are the sky. Everything else is just the weather. The clouds of anger and the storms of anxiety will pass, but you remain vast, eternal, and undisturbed. Take this philosophy with you as you step back into the noise of your life. Wear your calm like a suit of invisible armor that no blade can pierce. If you found value in this deep dive into the mastery of self, consider joining our community of seekers by subscribing to this channel. Share this with someone who is currently drowning in the noise and needs a lifeline to the shore of stillness. Leave a comment below with the word Unshakeable if you are committed to claiming your peace today. Your journey toward becoming so calm that nothing can control you has only just begun. Walk slowly, breathe deeply, and remember that the quietest person in the room is often the most powerful. Thank you for watching, and may your mind remain a sanctuary of silence in a world of noise. Until we meet again in the next exploration of the human spirit, stay grounded, stay focused, stay calm.